Good morning. We're here with Pramod Raheja, CEO
Nice
of
to meet you.
Airgility. Yes, nice meeting you. Tell us more about Airgility. What is it?
Sure. Airgility is an unmanned aviation solutions company. So we build unmanned aerial systems. And our tagline is autonomous aerial intelligence. So essentially what we're doing is we're collecting data and insights using artificial intelligence and then flying around autonomously to do that for certain missions and certain types of mission scopes, essentially. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. What problem did you observe that made you think, you know what, I really want to get into this and create Airgility?
Yeah, so we're at the cusp of what I would call an aerospace revolution, both in manned aviation, unmanned, and also in space. And unmanned is very exciting because there are a lot of things that we can do that where right now we're doing it with humans, and people are going into hazardous and dangerous situations, and unmanned systems or drones, as everybody will kind of relate to that, can do those same jobs. But it is not an easy task to create what we call an Internet of Things, and a drone in this case, to be able to fly around and do certain things that a human does. So that's a challenge. So I found that to be a very interesting challenge to take on because we can solve a lot of problems. So for example, going into a disaster situation, if there's a big earthquake or something and the whole building is collapsed, and it could be a very big building, there might be people that are alive that the first responders are trying to get to, but it might take them a very long time to get there, and not only that, they don't know where to go. And they are also put in harm's way. So we can send in our drones that actually will fly in, and if we lose them, it's okay because they're designed to be cheap enough that if you lose them, it's okay. But they'll give a lot of data and insight to the first responders before they even arrive to know where to go, how to do it, and what to do, essentially.
What a fabulous change. Tell us about your leadership team. Obviously, you have a pool of very impressive talent, so tell us more about it.
So my co-founder and I are what I would call, so when you look at the early stages of a tech company,
yes,
you really need to have the right early stage team that complement each other very well.
It's the foundation of your company, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so myself and my co-founder are both engineers. However, I'm more of I like to sell stuff and he likes to make stuff. So we make a really good team.
Wonderful pair.
A wonderful pair, absolutely. And around that now we've built, we know that we don't know everything, obviously. So we have now built a nice team of engineers around us that are really at the cusp and at the edge of innovation in terms of what we're developing. And as we grow now, we're really essentially hiring product managers and eventually business development and sales so we can accelerate into the market as well.
So growing team, there are many drone companies out there, right? So the marketplace is not very crowded, but it's getting more filled in. So how are you better than your competition?
Sure. Well, you were right the first time. It is very much a crowded space, and there are a lot of companies. But we've really differentiated through our capability of really fusing together different technologies to create a full system. So I'll give you an example of that. So our drone can essentially fly indoors and outdoors. Mm-hmm. Indoors is a very challenging thing to do because you don't have a GPS signal. And so you have to figure out another way of seeing. And so we've put together a very unique sort of sensor fusion so that the drone can see inside as well and avoid objects and fly around tables and chairs, for example, and then also figure out what to do, how to do it, and then where to go next. So it's path planning, and then it's also using artificial intelligence and triggering events to basically alert somebody or something that this has happened or that has happened. So it's all doing it by itself. So how we're different is that we're fully autonomous in terms of what we're doing, and we're using AI as well to gather those insights. And finally, the final piece of that really is that the drones themselves, the platform themselves, are very unique in terms of the most maneuverable and agile on the market as far as what they can do and how they can maneuver around and do things as well.
So you have a unique IP.
We have very unique IP. I would even go so far as to say is we have a killer app, right? If we use that term, yes, which is probably an overused term, but if we use that term, we have the best of software and hardware combined for a complete solution.
I understand. And so, let's say there's an investor interested in your company. What would you say? Why you versus someone else?
Sure. I think that really, we check all the boxes. So we have the right team, we have the right product focus, we have the right technologies and IP as well. You mentioned IP, and that's very important to have something that's unique, which we do. And so I think all those boxes get checked. We also have the right business approach, which is very important. One of the things we talk about in our company is that your idea is just 1% of the business, and the rest of it is execution. And we have the execution.
True. Very true. Are you seeking funding at this moment, or?
We are.
You are?
Yes.
Tell us more.
Yeah, so we have really come a long ways with non-dilutive funding. We have raised quite a bit of money in a non-dilutive way. This was intentional. Because we wanted to keep as much of the company as we could early on.
It makes sense.
But now we're at a stage we'd like to grow, and so we are looking for a seed round that helps us accelerate our product into the market, and then after that we'll really focus on growth at that point.
What's your timeline, more or less?
Yeah, we're in the midst of a fundraise right now, so
Okay.
next few months essentially is where we're trying to close.
Okay, wonderful. And I've seen you CONNECTpreneur before.
Yes.
Yes. So tell us of your experience.
Yeah, CONNECTpreneur has been really, so I'm part of many, many diverse entrepreneurial networks. And I'd say CONNECTpreneur is the one event, or sort of series of events now. When it first started, it was just one event. Now it's a series of events that where I find that I get the most valuable connections. I can tell you many stories of connections that have helped myself and my company along the way. And part of that is because CONNECTpreneur, I think, does a really good job of bringing together, I've used the word fusion a lot, but it applies here as well, which is industry, academia, investors, yes,
founders.
and founders all together, even service providers. Everybody's kind of coming together, and you just make so many connections, and the events are big. You might have 400 or 500 people at one of these events. So really, there's no shortage of the opportunity to meet people. So I would encourage everybody to attend a CONNECTpreneur event if you haven't already, because I can tell you many stories that are valuable. Even to Airgility, it's the starting of our company. We made some valuable contacts that got us our first contracts, and I can trace that all the way to a CONNECTpreneur event.
That's how it happens.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
Yes. Well, Pramod, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We loved learning more about your company, and we wish Airgility success going forward.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.